The Lord is thy shepherd, I shall not want. Him make an eye lie down in a green pasture. So leadeth I beside still water, them him restoreth I soul. Him leadeth I in the path of righteousness for him name's sake. Yea! Though I rasta go walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I can't fear no evil, for thy rod and thy staff, them comforted I and I. Who no prepare at a table before right in the presence of our enemy, them who no anointed I head to no aisle. The cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy. I go follow I all the days of I been. Me I go dwell in the house of my Lord God. Jah. Kadamawe gromabea tela exagbeer tanaistalina bashante shante shante shante. Kadamawe gromabe tela. This is the Black Pot, aka AKUFO-ADDO, where we speak truth to power. In my name, Black Rasta. In every traditional African home, there is a black pot, and each time this black pot sits on the fire, there is something super sumptuous cooking, ingredients of so many different types, shapes and sizes, aromas, and even flavors. Put aside all their differences and relocate into the black pot, where they are subjected to some good amount of heating. At the end of the day, they produce food, and ironically, they do not even partake in the eating of the food. It is us, the eaters, who do. Yet every time, the black pot and the ingredients will rise to the occasion and produce food for us. It's a lesson of selflessness, generational thinking, and sacrifice. Any nation that does not have this is not befitting of being called a nation. There is an empty box. This is what we need in these times. Patriotism. My brother, without patriotism, no nation can ever thrive. We will continue going around begging, cup in hand, to be truly independent and economically independent for that matter. We must be patriotic. No ifs, no buts. It's straight to the point. No cutting corners. It's all about patriotism. That is why we are going around Ghana, speaking to all 16 regions of Ghana about patriotism. We go to the schools, catch them young, talk to them about patriotism, beg them to hold on and love Ghana more. Generations might have failed, but there's no time to fail anymore. My brother, my sister, it is patriotism time. I have crowned myself a patriotic citizen, and I go around talking to all the people I come by in the market square or even on the street, and I speak to them about this. My brother, we don't have any support coming from any company. We are doing it on our own, and we thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you for your donations. Now, if you want to donate anything for us, it's very simple. All you need to do is to send that to us via our account number, which is showing on the screen right now, and it has a Swift code. You can also send it to us via our Momo line, anywhere you are in the world. And it is also a merchant line, so you can send us any amount of money. It will help us to continue with this tour of patriotism. No matter what, we will still continue unabated. We've done half of Ghana so far, and we are waiting to continue after some paperwork, which some schools are demanding. My brother, my sister, we started on the 2nd of March, and we shall continue. I want to say thank you so much to those who have contributed and are still contributing. Yes, I want to say thank you so much. Your names are going to be scrolling on the screen. You will see every penny you sent us. It's the Black Pot, aka AKUFO-ADDO, and I must apologize. The first trial ended up in Dumso. We pray that this one doesn't end up in Dumso. We started earlier and then the power went off. We are beginning again. We are hoping and praying that at least they give us some time to finish with the message of today. We have 4 very important things to share with you and I need you to come along. Come here, my youth. The very first story. Watch this. Now, the very first story says a heavy debt looms over Ghana while AKUFO-ADDO celebrates 80th birthday. Whilst Nana AKUFO-ADDO is busily celebrating his birthday, Ghana is indebted to the world to the tune of 650 billion Ghana cedis. Who is going to pay the debt? I am not the one asking the question. It is no other person but the former president, John Dramani Mahama. And he wants to find out who is going to pay the heavy debt of 650 billion Ghana cedis, whilst Nana AKUFO-ADDO is busily celebrating his birthday. Run the story. Run the story, my youth. Ghana owes 650 billion Ghana cedis, but someone is celebrating his 80th birthday. Who will come and pay? Mahama is asking. And this is the 16th of April, only yesterday, published. Run the story. Watch this. Now, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, former President John Dramani Mahama, has accused the AKUFO-ADDO administration of having nothing to show for the borrowing that has been done over the last 7.5 years. Mr. Mahama further accused the government of mortgaging the future of the Ghanaian youth with the loans that have been contracted. Addressing a gathering in Northeast as part of his Building Ghana tour on Tuesday, April 16, Mr. Mahama said in 2016, if we divided the debt, if we all decided that we were going to pack our bags and leave Ghana, and so let us share the debt and everybody should pay his, and then we would go. If we divided the debt, all of us would have paid 4,000 Ghana cedis each in 2016. Today, if we say we are going to divide the debt, all of us are giving Ghana up, we will pay our debts and go. And so we are going to share the debt for everybody to pay. Every one of you here owes 20,000 Ghana cedis. In other words, my brother, my sister, 5 times what we owed in 2016 when he was leaving office. Now the point is, the Eco Bank alone is 6 years the president's cousin. Should I take it again? The point is even the Euro bond alone in 6 years, the president's cousin, the finance minister, borrowed $13.5 billion. And if we had seen highways, bridges, regional hospitals, universities, schools, water, electricity, we would say that the money was well spent. But after 13.5 billion cedis, 13.5 billion cedis, well, up there it says $1 billion and here it says billion cedis. I don't know which is which. Just show me in the Northeast here what transformation has happened in the Northeast over the past 7.5 years. Dash it away. Mahama is asking a very important question. He says, Ghana is indebted to the world to the tune of 650 billion Ghana cedis. Who is going to pay that? Nana AKUFO-ADDO has given up. He said, yes, he's not been able to do it, but the next person coming after him will fix Ghana. If he had told us this at the beginning of the 2016 election, we would have advised ourselves. But he told us and promised that he was going to be able to fix it. Mahama is asking where all that money has gone to. Now, sadly, I may have to get into this melee. Now, with African presidents, it looks like we are very interested in accumulating debt. We are so happy to accumulate debt. It looks like governance in Africa is all about borrowing. How many people don't agree with me? Governance in Africa is so cheap. It's been reduced to borrowing. Any idiot can be president in Africa, except a few African countries. All you need to do, show your face as the president and borrow your way out of trouble. In fact, we have a quote from Mandela later in the day, and that quote is most important. If you are faced with a problem, you don't look the other way. In other words, if you are faced with a problem, don't turn around and run away from the problem. The problem will still be there when you return. Face the problem. In Africa, it looks like we are so interested in borrowing for the next generation that we are not treating well to perform the magic. Abracadabra. It's so selfish of these leaders. You are not giving the future leaders, the next generation, any better lives. They go to school and eat kenke with the head of Kobe as their best meal. They go to school and they are beaten by mosquitoes as if the schools are now mosquito producing factories. They go to school and return with sicknesses every now and then. And I ask myself, what really are you doing to the next generation of leaders? Yet they are the people you are looking up to be able to pay the debts that you irresponsibly went around accumulating. Why is this so? Every president in Africa seems to be just looking at borrowing. They borrow their way out of trouble. And that is the lazy man's way of governance. It's like a drunken man. Anytime he has a problem, all he needs to do is to look for alcohol, drench himself in alcohol, and forget the problem. And when the alcohol's power is out, the problem is still staring at him. He has to go drinking again. We continue borrowing like the alcoholic, drinking debts, drinking over and over, yet the problem is not solved. I'm waiting for that leader who will come back and say, listen, we are going to build this country without borrowing. Bear with us. Let the taxes work. We're going to give you the best of time. Please, we are going to make sure that things work in this country. This regime is not going to borrow a penny from anybody. We are going to depend on development partners around Africa and beyond. We shall not borrow. I'm waiting to hear that. We are going to depend on the resources of our nation. But it's going to be difficult. You know why? Because all these resources have already been mortgaged. Japan, and so on and so forth. And for that matter, it will be difficult for a leader, unless it's a leader like me, mad and radically crazy. You don't care what whoever thinks if they don't think about Ghana. You force everybody to think about Ghana. Let's live together and die together. That's the only way this nation can prosper. Let's all start fasting now, 6 to 6. No breakfast, no lunch. We will only have supper. And if we do this for 1 year, the nation will develop. Let everybody till the land. Let everybody find something doing. No excuse for anybody who says he has no job. There's a vast piece of land that can employ everybody in Ghana. Get a few farmers. Those who want to work on the farms, come. We shall pay you to work. My brother, this radical move can save our nation, agriculture. Mahama has asked the question. May I ask Mahama, so when you come into power, are you also going to borrow? Will you borrow or will you not borrow? Or you will make an excuse by saying, yes, I will borrow, but I will use it in the cause of the nation. Is that it? Can we first and foremost look at a situation where we will not borrow? Is it possible? Can we rule our nation without borrowing? Can we? Can we? The question is for the gods. My name Blakk Rasta is the Black Pop. Come here, my youth. Next one. Bring Masloc thief home to serve prison term. Who is the Masloc thief? It's a she thief. This is the she thief. You will see them so elegant. They speak English like Queen Elizabeth. They are thieves. Akronfo, old educated thieves. They go to school, and because of that, we believe that they are brilliant. Put them in responsible positions. If we had put Atai in there, it would have even been better. Today, when I was coming to the studio, I saw a write-up somebody put up in front of his house, and I smiled. He said, the thieves in Ghana, those who are uneducated, they only steal to go and eat. But the educated ones steal for themselves, their families, and for excursions and luxurious journeys abroad, including surgeries to build their buttocks and breasts. Hallelujah. So the ordinary uneducated thief is stealing so he can buy kinky and fish. He's stealing so he can take care of his pregnant woman at home. He's stealing so that his wife's hospital bills can be paid. But the educated thief has all these things at his or her disposal. The hospital bills are paid by the government. Oh, excursions are paid for. But he will still steal. That's the educated thief. He's a more dangerous thief than the uneducated thief. You know why? Now, the uneducated thief steals with a gun. At most, gun. But the educated thief steals with a pen. No bloodshed, yet there's more bloodshed than the uneducated thief stealing. Because when they steal from you, a lot of people are disadvantaged and they die premature deaths. Like in the case of the students who were supposed to get scholarships because they are poor but needy. Brilliant but needy. But rich people have gone to usurp these scholarships, and these people, some of them get so frustrated they end up dying early deaths. This woman is an educated thief. Her name is Sedina Tamaklo. She was one of the thieves that we trusted and put in office. She stole so much money. Nana AKUFO-ADDO himself had popo bili when he was given the figure. They took her to court. And when she got to the court and the case was still on, she said she was not well. And the same court gave her the chance to travel outside the country for treatment. May I ask 2 questions? Come here, let me ask you those questions. Question number 1. Was there no doctor in Ghana qualified enough to take care of her? And therefore she needed to travel outside the country for treatment? Number 2, did they find out how much money she was going to take out of the nation at the time she was going to fly out? Was it genuine money? After she left, she decided not to return to Ghana because she realized that the thief's cover had been blown. She was doing money laundering according to the courts of Ghana. You know what it means to say money laundering? Illegal money passing through your hands. People selling guns, pornography, and all that. That's money laundering. Money coming from illegal things. My brother, this woman stole so much money with her assistant. Now she's basking in glory in America. Yesterday, I made a point. I said people like this, no matter what, should be brought back into the country to face justice. Today, somebody else is speaking the same language. Run it, my youth. Watch this. Masloc case, Sedina Tamaklo, will be brought down to face justice. And this is Deputy Attorney General. Run it, my youth. Hey. Alfred Tua Yabua, the Deputy Attorney General of Ghana, has announced the initiation of legal proceedings to bring Sedina Tamaklo, Ationu, a former CEO of Masloc, that's Microfinance and Small Loan Center, back to Ghana to face justice. Said Natamaklo Ationu, who is currently outside the country reportedly on medical grounds, has been sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labor in absentia. Now, the Deputy Attorney General affirmed that the process of extraditing Ationu has already commenced, emphasizing that the recent judicial ruling will expedite the legal procedures. That's it away. I'm still asking the same question. And this is Tuayabua, Deputy Attorney General of Ghana. With a smile, he is happy to push her into prison to begin her sentence. My brother, when they steal from us like this, their safe haven is the same countries that are calling us thieves. Yet, a lot of these countries are not ready to release those thieves to undergo punishment. After all the stolen money is in those countries and in their big banks. So they are getting interest from that and doing business with stolen money. It happened in Rwanda. When Habyarimana was gunned down, the plane was gunned down, and there was a crash. His wife, who had supported so much criminal activities in the country, she was called Agathe Habyarimana. She ran to France, and they accepted her and even gave her asylum. The man who built the radio station that killed a lot of people by the pronouncements they made about the genocide that started in 1994 was also given asylum and much more. So the same people who call us thieves and useless, when our thieves run to them, they accept them. After all, our thieves are saving in their banks. I pray that this time round they bring down this woman. But it looks like an exercise in futility to me. It looks like a wild goose chase. But to God be the glory. We shall watch and keep watching until it's done. If the authorities won't bring her here, we shall use spiritual means to strike her with thunder and lightning, give her ovarian cancer, cancer of the vagina, cancer of the eyes, cancer of the nose, cancer of the mouth. I'm angry. Why do you treat the country like this? You get the chance to serve the nation. You turn it into an opportunity to loot. May cancer be your portion. Dash it away. My brother is sad. It's the Blakk Pot, aka Kokoshonamo. When we return, we got more. Keep your messages coming in. We shall read them as well. Hey! Whoa!
Blakk Pot, AKUFO-ADDO.
It's the Blakk Pot, aka AKUFO-ADDO, and here we speak truth to power. Next story, my youth. Now watch the next story. It says Asantehene saved 2016 election war. So we were here, we didn't know what happened. 2016, when Mahama handed over power peacefully to Nana AKUFO-ADDO. We clapped for Mahama and said, oh, democracy is deeply entrenched in the country. Today, some different story is coming out. And it's from the horse's own mouth. Who is the horse? This is the horse. I went to the same school with him. Of course, he finished before I entered. I'm not this old. He's 60 years plus. And I'm just about to hit 50 on September 2. He was my far senior at Ahmadiya Secondary School, Kumasi. Very powerful man. Anytime he sees me, he will shout, Al-Fatiha! Then we'll start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman. We will recite Al-Fatiha from beginning to the end. Because anybody who has ever attended Ahmadiya Secondary School, that is the anthem that you will live with. At every assembly, you will recite Al-Fatiha. And it's nice to hear Christians recite Al-Fatiha with the Tree accent in it. Is always interesting. After that, you recite the Lord's Prayer as well. And when Muslims are reciting the Lord's Prayer using the Zongo accent, it's also so interesting. Our Father who art in heaven. And then when you hear it, you know that this is somebody who has just finished eating Tuozafi and Niankuka. Hallelujah. That's a beautiful school, Ahmadiya Secondary School. People from different places united under one umbrella. And in a mass, there's freedom of religion and freedom of worship. You don't have to be a Muslim to attend the school. You could be a Hindu. You could be a Rasta. You could be anything. Just make sure you don't disturb other people. Oh, what a school. Now, the headmaster of the school is a senior of mine, a very good father of mine when we were in school. He adopted me as his son. So for Ayub, after my big brother exited, in retirement, Yakub A.B. Abubakar, he handed over to his very good friend, and they are running the school. This is the horse. How many of us remember him? We all remember him, right? He has released a big secret. He was the one who turned Kumasi inside out. This was the guy who arrested Kwao Kese for smoking weed 30 meters away from the police checkpoint. And when people were calling him and begging him, he said, I am not the law. The law says if you smoke this thing, you should be arrested. Nobody went into Kwao Kese's room to smell his mouth to find out whether he was smoking weed or not. He was smoking openly, 30 meters away from the police checkpoint. In fact, by the time Kwao Kese left the cells, all the abodam, the madness had left him. He had grown so lean. It's an experience Kwao Kese will never ever forget. And I don't pray that for anybody. This is the man. Hey! He was so radical in his last days as a policeman. And I admire him. Now he's retired. Last time I called him, he said he was outside the country. He said, Blakk Rasta, when I return, we'll talk. Run the story, my youth. This is the secret he's giving to us, all the way from the headquarters of the Asantehene. COP Kofi Boakye discloses Asantehene's role in the announcement of the 2016 election results. Run it, my youth. Nathan Kofi Boakye, a retired commissioner of police who is widely known as Commander 1, has disclosed some of the supposed events that transpired before the announcement of the 2016 presidential election results. According to Kofi Boakye, who was the Ashanti region commander at the time, it was the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei the second's intervention which made it possible for the election results to be announced. The retired COP, who made these remarks in an interview with Opemsuo Radio on April 16, 2024, explained that Otumfuo engaged all the stakeholders in the election for peace to prevail. In fact, when the EC could not announce the result of the 2016 election, it was His Majesty who intervened. It was him, the Otumfuo, who came in for Charlotte Osei to be able to announce the results. I am telling you plainly, if you know the kind of talks that went on at the Manshia, Ghanaians must cherish him, the Asantehene, and pray for him to live long. He said in the Tree dialect. He reiterated, I'm telling you, If you know the level of talks that went on for the announcement of the results of the 2016 elections, I can't disclose everything. So we should give the Asantehene the respect due him. Wow. Ochiami onim kasano si. Nana, wawa sumu. Bra! Asama COP Nathan Kofi Boakye Kano. Anu kwetro Osi abatwa yeturu 2016 no anka otumfo anka bia anka ende yetutu paye yekum nipa moja hwea na yehwe moja na anka ende Ghana asudwe agi ha boko no anka sebi anka adane tupaye kum yetutu tupaye tuo tu yada otumfo ase. I believe this will qualify me to read news at Peace FM one of these days. My brother, listen to the language. There's a battery blinking up there. Please deal with this battery. Watch this, brethren. Nathan Kofi Boakye, Commander 1, my brother, said if you were there to see the kind of talks that went on, you would clap for the Otumfo. It means somebody was not ready to relinquish power. And that was the NDC. It could also mean that, it wasn't necessarily so. There probably was a certain disagreement where some figures were manipulated and the two parties could not agree. And therefore, Otumfo had to call the two in and say, listen, you have had your tenure of office. Even if you win by 20 votes, I think you should give peace a chance. And Mahama decided to listen to this. It's okay. Charlotte will say, go ahead, mention the results. Remember when Kofi Anyudoho came out and said that the NDC was leading? In his own words, we all remember what he said. What did he say? Comfortable lead. Today, some people nickname him Comfortable Lead. He's comfortable with the party in power, the NPP, who he said his party, the NDC at the time, was in comfortable lead off in the race. Interesting. Times can change, right? But my brother, I'm disappointed at one thing. Why must Otumfo come in for electoral commission to do his work? Was it that bad? Electoral commissioner was not in charge? Was that why Nana AKUFO-ADDO decided to remove Charlotte? Because he realized that had Otumfo not come in, something untoward could have happened. My brother, I am so sad and disappointed that our electoral commissioners are not given the free hand to operate. The party comes into power. It gets its own electoral commissioner, which should never have been so. The electoral commissioner should come from a purely neutral background. No party is supposed to be responsible for picking any electoral commissioner. Somebody who decides who wins elections. So now the truth has come out. When Mahama quickly came out and said that he had agreed that he had lost and that power had shifted hands, many were shocked. Some NDC people will say, Mahama, you shouldn't have announced it so early. We could have found a way to manipulate. That's foolishness. Why do you manipulate results? Why do you want to force yourself on the people? He's lost. Let him go. Like it happened in Liberia. We could have used rough tactics to also do something. But he decided that no. Enough is enough. Let me leave. When I come back again, people will clap for me. Is that decision that Mahama took in 2016 that today is making him a very bright candidate in these elections? He realized that even though he wanted to continue ruling, he had to leave. One-term president. It's not easy for a president to leave office in Ghana after one term. They will manipulate. Look at what happened in our last elections. Many people believe that the NDC won. But Nana AKUFO-ADDO and his cohorts manipulated it. And then they took up the elections. Unfortunately, the NDC was also busily drinking tea with cabin biscuits. And therefore, they couldn't even bring sheets and evidence of whatever happened. And Otumfuo this time around probably was also tired and decided to drink a little bit of wine, red wine, and go to bed. It's sad. I'm sad African elections are actually run by political parties and not independently. I leave it. It's a Blakk Pot, aka Kokoshonamo. Come here, where we speak truth to power. And remember, when we return, we'll take our last story. But before then, we'll be reading messages from you. Hey! Whoa! Greetings, countrymen. My name is Blakk Rasta. When I was growing up as a child, there was something called the courtesy for boys and girls that helped to train us and raise us up in patriotism. But today, a lot of this patriotism has been lost. Today, our children are beginning to lose everything in terms of our heritage. They have lost out on our history, lost out on our greatness. It is on the bedrock of this. I am embarking on a nationwide tour of patriotism. Remember, it's patriotism, not politics. We shall go to all the 16 regions of Ghana. And in every region, we will organize students and speak to them about patriotism. We will organize a small quiz competition where we shall give prizes out. And these prizes are going to be prizes that are souvenirs from Ghana. Right after that, we will organize a certain concert, either in the market space or even on the streets, accessible to everybody. And we will catch the music lovers and deliver the same message to them. It's on the bedrock of this. I would like you to be part of this. Please donate to this great cause. We are raising a next generation of patriots. It's the lack of patriotism that is making us steal from our own country. It's the lack of patriotism that makes us feel like when we steal from the government, we are stealing from space. It's the lack of patriotism that makes us owe allegiance to some foreigners more than us. It's the lack of patriotism that makes foreigners come into this country and behave like demigods, and we see them as such. My brother, my sister, donate so we can move out there. Maybe you want to give us something else in kind. We are ready for you. Our numbers are rolling on the screens, and you can donate into our bank account or onto our phone number, and we will gladly appreciate and acknowledge you. This is the National Patriotism Tour that we have taken on ourselves to make sure that the nation, Ghana, stands tall again like before. My name is Blakk Rasta, and I thank you for listening. God bless you. Ghana shall prosper. Ghana will rise again. Bless you.
Boy!
Blackpot, Coco Shoulder, man.
It's the Black Pot, aka Kuku Shoneman. Here we speak truth to power. Now let's see what you think about what's going on. Bismarck Laye, Mitram Mifashe, the 7th. He gave us 1,000 CDs about 5 times. Lankwe Mills gave us 50 Ghana CDs. And I respect that a lot. You know why? For all you know, that day, it was part of the money he was going to use for kenke and fish with his family. The widow's mite. Thank you so much to all of you. We appreciate you. Tom Paul says, nice program. Sweet Papito says, yay! Come here! Woyoy. Francis Ampim says, come here. You think say you day wise. Woyoy. Zacha Emmanuel says, Ja! This is welcome once again, Godfather. The most annoying part is that the DCE was born right there in Wusuta town before the road was still like this. So he's talking about the bad road in Wusuta. He says the DCE has been there and he's seen it and they are doing nothing to fix the road. In fact, anyway, if I were there, we will do communal labor and fix our own roads ourselves. If the government doesn't want to do it, we'll find a way of doing it ourselves. But we'll see where you pass and come and do your campaign when election time comes. Latte Obed says, good evening to you guys. Good evening to you, Latte. Muhammad Banjayawan says, Alhamdulillah for today and may Allah increase your medulla capacity to keep lecturing us. Let's meet on Sunday, the 21st at the Accra Conference Center for Jowa Zulia Salah Fest. Wayoy! Now, Pyramid says, good evening, Black Rasta. Watching this show blend with Chicken Jaffa Koli, with promise, blah, blah, on repeat mode. Keep the burning fire blazing every time. Grandpa. Thank you. Now, Pyramid. Latte Obed says, may the good Lord richly bless you so that you can continue to do this work. Thank you, my brethren. Thank you, my brethren. Is that all? Come here. This is the Black Pot, aka Kuku Shodomo, where we speak truth to power. And I want to look at the last story before we leave. He says, stop destroying the NPP. And this is Carlos Ahenkorah speaking. Who is Carlos Ahenkorah? This is Carlos Ahenkorah. Anytime I talk about him, I want people to really know who he is. This was the man who had COVID and he went to the polling station at the time, greeting people and interacting with the public when the doctors had told him to quarantine. The president was so embarrassed, he decided to relieve him of his deputy ministerial position. He was at the trade ministry. So he sacked him. This was the man who went into the parliament house. You know, he's a parliamentarian for Tema somewhere. And he snatched and stole ballot papers and chewed them like a pregnant goat because he wanted to disrupt the voting process so the right ballot papers would not be counted. When he realized his party, the NPP, was losing, he was giving some good blows. The army had to come in there to restore sanity to people who were not sane. Right there. It was like a kindergarten election. At the end of the day, the NDC won, and the Speaker of Parliament became Alban Bagbin, who has exonerated all Ghanaians by performing marvelously, albeit with some bad health condition. Well, this is the man we're talking about. He will do anything for his party, but nothing for his country. What a case. They owe allegiance more to their party than to Ghana. He's saying something that I need to share with you. Run it, my youth. And come here. VIP slot. Your unnecessary pressure on Baumia is weakening our party. And this Carlos Ahenkorah firing NPP members. Run it, my youth. Member of Parliament for Tema West constituency, Carlos AHENKORAH, has lashed out at some members of the New Patriotic Party who are mounting pressure on the flag bearer and leader of the party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to choose his running mate from their camp ahead of the December 2024 elections. According to the legislator, he does not see reasons for the pressure some party members are mounting on Dr. Bawumia for him to consider their preferred candidate, adding that the constant and consistent pressure being mounted on the flag bearer is likely to weaken the structure of the party. That shit away. Carlos, with all love and respect, your party has died beyond weakness. It's gone beyond weakness. It's dead. Your party is only a useless party that is still hanging on to some life because of incumbency. Look at how many people are being sacked or resigning from top positions in the nation. Come here. It's sad. My brother, even party members have lost hope in the party and they are living in their droves. Dr. Nyahu Tamaklu on my mind. The NPP is the non-patriots party. It's a party that has let Ghanaians down. It's an evil party. My brother, mounting pressure on Bawumia cannot weaken your party. The party went beyond weakness, is dead. May I say one last thing and I'm done with this topic. You know what weakened and killed your party? Deeply entrenched, pathological corruption. Party in some party in Yenska. You brought illiterates in to come and do the work of literates. And literates became illiterates. The more educated, the more thieving. That's where we are right now, my brother. It's ended. That's where your party is. It's in the grave. Beyond resurrection. Wait and go into opposition and see the remnants of your party. It's going to be tinder and fire. Tinder. You know what a tinder is? Hallelujah. I'm done. Well, my name is Blakk Rasta, and I want to say thank you so much for coming along. I appreciate you and I love you. It's been the Blakk Pot, aka Kokoshonomo, where we speak truth to power. I appreciate you and I love you. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m. And it looks like we have some messages, right? Do we? Okay, if you have some messages, put them up. All right? Come in. Tom Paul says, my brother, this criminal politician case will go nowhere. If they want to jail her, they will not let her. Well, if they wanted to jail her, they would never have allowed her to leave the country, right? They know what they are doing. God's way, Jata says, listening live. Oh, Benjamin Achu says, bless. Grace Kumado says, so why didn't he speak about the 2020 election while the NPP lost? You know it. I knew it. And Utumfo didn't say anything. And then that is hypocritical. That's killing God. That's why I said he probably had some small red wine. And then he went to bed. Why? Because even the NDC was not prepared. They didn't have evidence. So what would Utumfo do in that case? Just drink red wine and go to bed. Bro Banks says, hey, wait, the politicians think they are wise. I don't like them a bit. Mr. Ahmed, let me tell you, Africa is never a place for those of us who think far. I love to the nonsense degree. My brother, I want to respectfully disagree with you. Africa produced a lot of great thinkers. Better thinkers than me and you, probably. That is why Africa must change. That is why we have to do it from the grassroots. Patriotism, the mindset must change. What do we used to think? Not the mind. So if we are people in there who are not thinking, we change the mindset. So things can get better. Grace Saki says, hi. I say hi back. Right? I want to say thank you. I appreciate you. It's been the Blakk Pot, aka Koko Show, where we speak truth to power. Hey! Whoa!